Welcome back. I survived. So 15 games. I mean, come on. There was 13 games on at the same time at one point. I was just glad to be able to track anything tonight. And hey, it's all done. Except for there's a Seattle-Winnipeg game on Sunday. With the move going on, I don't know if I'm going to actually get to watch that game. It's possible that maybe I stream it if we don't have our cable in place, like our internet in place at the new house, but I don't know about using data for that game. That being said, some very surprising results, especially the jersey I'm wearing tonight. Very, very surprising. So, first up, Pittsburgh at home against the Columbus Blue Jackets. The Penguins, of course, win the game. They play against the Rangers in the first round. So, it's Berube versus DeSmith. Berube did not have a great start. Early edge for the Penguins. They press at 3 minutes. They score at 3 minutes and 51 seconds. It's Malkin from Heinen and Pettersson. And 5 minutes into the game, the shots are 7-0 already. So Columbus doesn't start on time, and then Rodriguez at 5:31 scores from Gensel and Bluger. So Pittsburgh's up 2-0, and then it's 3-0 when Pettersson scores from Malkin and Boyle at 6:26. So that ends the night for Berube already, and Elvis Merzlikins is in. He does not get the last game off. Penguins press for more. Rodriguez misses a chance high. Columbus gets a power play. That's killed off. There's a press by Columbus with 2.5 minutes left. Columbus gets a power play as well with 1 minute and 16 seconds left. So that rolls over into the second period. Penguins finish the kill. Then there's a power play for the Penguins. That's killed off. Columbus gets power play, also killed off. A lot of power plays in this one. Shots are 4-3 for the Penguins at 9 minutes. But at 10:24, Danforth just pushes one across the line. It might have gone over anyways, but he pushes it in to make sure it doesn't get saved. Carlson with the assist on that one, so that makes it 3-1. Nyquist was then denied, and Columbus is pressing for another one. Penguins, though, they get a power play. That's killed off, but Letang scores from McGinn and Carter at 16:30, and then at 18:54, it's Boyle from Pettersson and Bluger. So suddenly, the score's 5-1, and then the Penguins are looking for more. So we go to the third period. Shots are 2-0 for the Penguins at 3.5 minutes, but Columbus would get a power play on which they scored. It's Bjorkstrand from Nyquist and Voracek at 6:58. Columbus would get another power play. They score on that one as well. It's Nyquist from Voracek and Bean at 12:06. But with 2:46 left, the Penguins get a power play, and up by 2, they're able to bring it home. They win the game 5-3. They will play the New York Rangers. They're 46-25-11. Columbus 37-38-7. 3 stars are Pettersson, Malkin, and Rodriguez. The shot 16-12 Pittsburgh in the first, 17-10 Pittsburgh in the second, 17-14 Pittsburgh in the third. The final shot's 50-36 for Pittsburgh. Power plays, Columbus 2 for 5, Pittsburgh 0 for 3. The hits 18-16 Pittsburgh. Berube saves 5 out of 8. He was done for the night. And then Merzlikins saves 40 out of 42. DeSmith saves 33 out of 36. And if Pittsburgh can get this kind of production, and if DeSmith keeps the save percentage over 900, they've got a chance against the New York Rangers. They do have a chance. All right, moving along. Chicago in against Buffalo. This, of course, being the last game for Rick Jeanneret. But I was triggered a little bit by the pre-game where they were talking about the Rick Martin Award on the team, and they kept saying Rick Martin. Like, nope. I made that mistake in a video once, and rightfully, I was not allowed to get away with it, and I had to make a Rick Martin video as a result. So it went to Kyle Okposo. It is Rick Martin. So it was Delia versus Tokarski in this one, of course. It is RJ's last game. He got to call a good one. Cousins has a chance this block. The shots are 4-2 for the Hawks at 5 minutes. Sabres get a power play. That was killed off. Hawks then get a power play. It was killed pretty easily by Buffalo. Skinner had a rush chance that was held, and after the first period, it is scoreless. Second period rolled around again. We had about 11 games on at that time, so I had to drop this one as it was between two teams not in the playoffs, right? Shots are 4-0 for the Hawks at 6 minutes, and then they get on the board first. It's Kubalik from Vlasic at 8:47. The shots, Hawks don't get anything else. The shots are 5-3 for them with 9 minutes left, meaning that was the only shot between the 6-minute mark and 5 minutes after that. The Sabres get a power play at 18 minutes and 13 seconds. So that rolls over into the third where Chicago finishes the kill. And then Buffalo ties it. It's Tage Thompson from Skinner at 4:16. The shots are 4-0 for the Sabres at 6.5 minutes. At 8.5, there's only the one shot for Chicago, but they were smart. They do get another goal. Strome scores from Caleb Jones and DeBrincat at 9:33. Smart is the wrong... They were smart when it came to their shot selection, is what I'm trying to say. Like, they didn't have a ton of shots at times, but they would end up getting the goals. Sabres get a power play. That was killed off. But Owen Power, scores a goal to tie it up again at 14-22. That forces overtime. In the overtime, it's all Buffalo, and Middlestad finishes it from Cousins and Jokiharju at 2:07. So your final score is 3-2 for Buffalo in overtime. They finished the season 32-39-11. For Chicago, 28-42-12. So overall, a long season for both teams, but Buffalo seems to be on the upswing, and for Chicago, it's still remaining to be seen what the plan is next. All right, your 3 stars in this one: Middlestad, Power, and Tokarski. Your shots 10-8 or 10-9 Buffalo in the first, 8-7 Chicago in the second, 14-4 Buffalo in the third, 5-0 Buffalo in the overtime. Final shots 36-21 for the Sabres. Power plays: Chicago 0 for 1, Buffalo 0 for 3. The hits were only 9-8 for Chicago, so not an overly physical game. Delia saves 33 out of 36. Tokarski saves 19 out of 21. And so for Buffalo, they go out on a winning record. Well, winning record over their last 20 games, right? Next up, Boston in against the Toronto Maple Leafs. Boston rests everybody. So Boston didn't seem to care who they play in round 1. Or, of course, if you want to get into the theories, the theory might be Boston would rather play Carolina than play the Leafs. Sure, why not? We can go with that. So it was Swayman versus Shalgren in this one. Bruins, again, resting everyone, but they scored 1 minute and 10 seconds, and it's Frederick from Smith and Studnicka. The Leafs then get a power play. It's a 4-minute power play, and they score during the second 2 minutes of it. It's Mikheyev from Giordano at 3:51. Leafs then press for the lead. The shots are 4-3 for the Bruins at 9 minutes, but then McLaughlin's guilty of a turnover. That leads to a goal for Nylander at 13:16. The Leafs would press with 2.5 minutes left. They do score late. It's Abruzzese with his first goal in the NHL from Riley at 19:53. It is 3-1 Toronto. Second period. Smith fires one wide on a rush. Bleed was denied in close. He had a couple of good opportunities. DeBrusk crashes into the boards. Kampf was denied on a rush. Foligno has a net drive. That won't go. The Leafs get a power play. Nylander fires one wide. That's killed off. So we go to the third period. Nylander would make it 4-1 at 8 minutes. So that's where you know Boston's not coming back. Although in between the second and third, they were talking about Boston's not coming back. Foligno scores. He gets his 500th point. And then it turns out the play was offside, so he does not get his 500th point. Bruins get a power play and they score on it. It's DeBrusk from Smith and Riley at 12:49. Makes it 4-2. But they pull the goalie, they do their best, and then Toronto gets the empty netter. It's Engvall at 19 minutes and 50 seconds. Toronto wins 5-2. They go to 54-21-7 to finish out the season. So excellent record for them. Really nice point total. And yeah, we'll see what happens in the playoffs. Boston 51-26-5. They will play Carolina. Toronto gets to play Tampa. Your 3 stars are Nylander, Abruzzese, and Smith. The shots 10-6 Toronto in the first, 10-9 Toronto in the second, 11-7 Boston in the third. Final shots 27-26 for Toronto. Power plays: Boston 1 for 1, Toronto 1 for 3. The hits 54-38 for Boston, so 92 hits. In a game where I didn't think either team necessarily had a lot of emotion in it, but 92 hits tells you somebody cared. Swayman with 22 saves on 26 shots. Shalgren, 24 saves on 26 shots. Shalgren played well, so if they need to go to him in the playoffs, you know, it might be one of those things where maybe Shalgren's going to end up being a pretty good goaltender and he stays in Toronto next year as the backup. But we will see, right? All right, next up. Florida, what happened? Well, what happened is simple. So it's Johansson in there against Price. Carey Price wanting to have a good game to make up for what's been just a really forgettable year for him. And Johansson, it doesn't matter how many goals you allow, you're not coming out. So Panthers rest everyone as well. So that doesn't help, right? All the big stars are out. Early press for the Panthers. However, Montreal scores first. It's Harris with his first NHL goal from Evans at 1:57. Lusterina nearly answers, but Hoffman scores one from Savard at 4:18. And then Caulfield scores from Evanson at 4 minutes and 30 seconds. So that's 12 seconds between those goals. So that's 3 shots and 3 goals. The interesting thing was that Gord Miller pointed out it only showed 2 shots on the shot clock and 3 goals, which to me seemed to kind of indicate the kind of night Johansson was going to have. Gallagher nearly adds one. The Habs get a power play, and then Gallagher does add one. He scores the power play marker from Perreault and Weidman at 12:23. Romanov ends up hitting the post, so it could have been a lot worse. Panthers get a power play. I say it could have been a lot worse, and here we are. In fact, I don't know that I have the room up here for this. I should. Where are they? 1 second. No, I don't really have room for it, but there's the No Mercy magnet. So, because there wasn't any. But yeah, the Panthers get a power play. They score on it at Sherratt from Luostarinen and Heponiemi at 18:23. But it's 4-1 Montreal after one. Second period. Caulfield scores at 1:32, and then at 3:55 it's Matthew Perreault from Dvorak and Anderson, and just line them up. At 6:08, it's Evans from Rem Pitlick and Gallagher. So this is just Montreal going to town on a goaltender that just didn't have it tonight. And a team that was resting everybody too. Habs get a power play, that's killed off, and to get revenge for that, Dvorak scores from Anderson at 13:21. So let's see, after two, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, I can't count that many. It's a lot. It's a lot of goals. So go to the third period. Caulfield, he gets another one. He scores from Hoffman and Suzuki at 8 minutes and 12 seconds. That's the third goal, right? Yep, hat trick. So hat trick Caulfield, not bad. Goal Caulfield is making a late run, or made a late run, to get consideration for the Calder. I don't know how well it's going to end up going for him, but man, did he have a great run at the end of the year. Shots are 5-3 for Montreal at 9 minutes, and then Tyler Pitlick scores, because why not, from Pizzetta and Paling at 9:51. Florida does add another just to make it 2 to a lot. It's Achari from Sherratt and Lomberg at 14:55. Montreal holds on and wins this one 10-2. Yeah, Montreal finishes the season 22-49-11. Florida 58-18-6. So Johansson's numbers take a beating. Your 3 stars are Johansson, not really, but kind of. Caulfield, Perreault, and Harris are your 3 stars. The shots are 11-10 Montreal in the first. Both teams had 16 shots in the second. Florida outshot them 13-10 in the third. Final shots are actually 39-37 for Florida. Power plays, Florida 1-for-1, Montreal 1-for-2. The hits, not a lot of them. 15-13 Montreal. Johansson saves 27 out of 37. And Price saves 37 out of 39. Now, I know it's 10 goals, but I'm still surprised he didn't get into the 3 stars because 37 saves is impressive, no matter what lineup you're against. So there's that. What an amazing score. All right, next up, Detroit in against New Jersey. So again, 2 teams outside of the playoff picture, but some goals were scored here. So it's Hellberg playing against Blackwood. So Hellberg getting the last start of the season for Detroit. Rasmussen scores at 1:08 from Sundqvist and Wallman. The shots are 2 apiece at 5.5 minutes. Detroit holds the lead until 17-14 into that first period. Mercer would score from Zetterlund, so it's 1-1 after 1. Second period, the shots are only 1-0 for Detroit at 4.5 minutes. So good defensive start. And then Seider scores at 6 minutes and 30 seconds. The Devils get a power play. That was killed off. And then Foote scores from Hamilton and Boquist at 15:38. So that gives us a tied game after 2 periods, 2 apiece. Third period, 54 seconds in, Veleno puts Detroit back in the lead from Bertuzzi and Raymond. So 54 seconds in, Detroit has their 3rd lead of the game. Wings get a power play. That's killed off. The shots are 2 apiece at 5 minutes. And then at 6:57, Zetterlund ties it up again from Heischer and Bratt. So Zetterlund with the goal and an assist in this one. And it's a 3-3 tie. The shots are 7-4 for the Wings at 8.5 minutes. So they're starting to push the play. And then they get the goal. It's Suter from Vrana and Hronik at 10:42. The Wings get a power play. That was killed off as well. New Jersey would pull the goaltender, but the empty net goal is scored. It's Bertuzzi at 19 minutes and 50 seconds. Detroit wins in New Jersey. They go to 32-40-10 to finish the season. The New Jersey Devils 27-46-9 to finish the season. So Detroit ends up finishing the season 1 point behind Buffalo. Means they draft 1 spot ahead of Buffalo in every round other than the first. And after the draft lottery, we'll see where they stand in the draft against Buffalo. Your 3 stars are Rasmussen, Seider, and Zetterlund. The shots, 9 apiece in the first, 15-6 Detroit in the second, 11-8 Detroit in the third. Final shots, 35-23 for the Wings. Power plays, Detroit 0-for-2, New Jersey 0-for-1. The hits were 18-14 New Jersey. Hellberg saves 20 out of 23 for the victory. Blackwood saves 30 out of 34 in the loss for New Jersey. So, again, both of these teams are going to be looking to get better in the offseason. And now I need to change boards. All right, next up. Washington in against the New York Rangers. So again, Washington, needed a loss from Pittsburgh and then a win for themselves, and they would have got themselves a date with the Rangers in the playoffs. The Rangers, by winning this, end up seeing the Penguins instead. And for the Capitals, they get the unenviable task of facing off against Florida. So it's Samsonov versus Georgiev in this one. The Rangers press at 6 minutes. Carlson has a chance that's saved and held for the Caps there. Shots are 5-4 in the favor of the visiting Capitals at the half. Eller has a chance that's held. Georgiev looked really sharp in this one. Nice bounce back for him after a couple of shaky starts there. Rangers get a power play, becomes a 4-on-4. It's all killed off. We then get 2 minutes of 4-on-4. And we end up going to the second period. Dowd has a chance that's blocked. The Caps get a power play. There was a shorthanded chance for Miller where he hit the side of the net. That's killed off. And then Hedl scores from Kakko and Schneider at 3:26. That lead for the Rangers doesn't last. Schultz scores at 4:01. The Capitals then get a power play and they score on that. It's Carlson from Kuznetsov and Oshie at 5:13. The Rangers press for an answer. There was another press by the Rangers with 7.5 minutes left. Vetrano had a net feed that was blocked. And then at 15:44, Lafreniere gets his 19th goal of the season, one short of 20 from Strome and Schneider. So it's 2-2 after 2, third period. Capitals had 1 minute and 3 seconds of power play time to start the period. Rangers finished the kill. Strome then had a fast break that was held. Near missed then by Connor Sherry. And then Hunt scores the leading goal from Kakko and Fox at 6:42. So Kakko with a couple of helpers today. And then with 8:02 left, the Rangers get a power play. That was killed off. There was a net crash where basically Georgiev had a goal line stand. It was a nice play by him. And good defense by the Rangers to get it out. Caps get a power play. Becomes a 6-on-4. Capitals call a timeout. Mika Zibanejad then hit the post on the empty net. The Caps press, they had opportunities, they could not tie it. So your 3 stars in this one are Hunt, Georgiev, and Schneider as the Rangers win 3-2. They finished the season 52-24-6. For the Capitals, 44-26-12 in the season. Your shots are 12-10 Washington in the first, 13-12 Rangers in the second, 12-10 Washington in the third. Final shots 36-33 for Washington. Power plays, the Caps 1 for 5, the Rangers 0 for 2. Hits, 15 hits each in this game. Samsonov saves 30 out of 33. Georgiev saves 34 out of 36. So overall, the Rangers end up finishing the season the way you want to, on a winning note, and we'll see what happens with them in the playoffs, right? Okay, next up. Ottawa in against the Philadelphia Flyers. And, you know, I thought it was appropriate that at the end, and I caught the end of this game, that the fans booed, because it's been that year for Philly. And when I talked about the most disappointing teams that have missed the playoffs, me saying Philadelphia is number one is not because I'm trying to be different or anything. It's because, yeah, Philadelphia's had a miserable year. Really, all the way through, it's been miserable. Any other team, when they changed coaches, things got better. Not for Philly. And multiple 10-game losing streaks. Just miserable. Forsberg versus Jones in this one. The shots are 4-0 Flyers at 3 minutes. The Sens get a power play. That's killed off. The shots evened up. They were 10 apiece with 4.5 minutes left. The Flyers get a power play, and they do score on it. It is JVR from Tippett and Provorov at 18:31. So that makes your score 1-0 for the Flyers after 1. Second period, the Sens get a power play. That was killed off. They get another power play. That was killed off as well. And then Norris, he scores from Tkachuk at 11:31. So that makes it a 1-1 score. So we go to the third period. Hamonic would score from Formenton and Chabot at 1:56. And so suddenly Ottawa's got a lead. With 9:22 left, the Flyers get a power play. It becomes a 5-on-3. They would score during the power play. It's Tippett from Provorov and Frost at 12:33. So Provorov with a couple of helpers. But with 4:47 left, the Sens get a power play, and they score on theirs as well. So Tkachuk from Stützle and Chabot at 16:38. Philadelphia pulls the goaltender down by 2. That allows Ottawa to end it. It is Watson from Chabot and Kelly into the empty net at 18:15. Your final score is 4-2 for Ottawa. They end up finishing the season 33-42-7. I mean, it's not the season you would have wanted for Ottawa, but honestly, they finished the season pretty strong. Philadelphia 25-46-11. This is a season they want to forget. 3 stars are Tkachuk, Tippett, and Van Riemsdyk. Your shots, 11 apiece in the first. Ottawa outshoots them 13-6 in the second. Philadelphia outshot them 17-12 in the third. I had to erase it because I had Philly and Ottawa on the wrong side. Ottawa outshoots Philadelphia 36-34. The Sens 1 for 4 on the power play. Philadelphia 2 for 3. Hits 26-15 in favor of the Senators. Forsberg 34 saves on 36 shots. Jones 32 saves on 35 shots. At least Jones finishes the season with a save percentage of 900 or above. So, you know, that's a win. And there weren't a lot of those for Philly this year. But there's some hope for next year, right? There is hope for next year, right? There has to be. Next up, Tampa Bay Bolts in against the Islanders, and the Bolts with their fate in their own hands. and they take it. To their credit, they take it. It didn't look like they would. It looked like the Islanders were ready to just, run out the schedule with a nice winning streak. It's Vasilevsky versus Sorokin in this one. Pajot scores at 32 seconds from Dobson and Lee. And 5.5 minutes into the game, the shots are 6-1 for the Islanders. So they were much sharper early on. Bolts press, the Islanders shot block. Colton's denied in close. And Stamkos, he scores to tie the game from Chernak and Palat at 11:57. And then the Bolts press for the lead. But it's tied after one. Second period, it takes till 9:35 when Bellows puts the Islanders back in the lead. So that makes it 2-1. Pressed by the Islanders then with 7.5 minutes left. There's a near miss by Chara. Bolts press with 3.5 minutes left. Nelson had a rush chance that was saved with 2:20 left. The Islanders get a power play, and Parise scores on it at 18:58. With 22 seconds left, though, the Bolts get a power play. So going into the third period, they're down 3-1, and so they got to fight their way back, and they do. It's Perry on the power play at 1:21 from Kucherov and Hedman. McDonough then ties the game from Maroon and Belmar at 10:10, and then 11:13. Beautiful goal by Stamkos. Palat with the assist, and it was a turnover that led to the goal. So suddenly, it's a lead in favor of the Tampa Bay Lightning. Momentum's all Bolts. Wallstrom had a rush chance, was broken up. Bellows can't bury one on a 2-on-1. Green then had a chance that was blocked, and then Stamkos gets the hat trick. He scores from Palat and Kucherov at 17:50. Stamkos is on a ridiculous point streak. He's never been this hot in his life with points. I think he's had like 26 in his last 9 games. It's ridiculous. It's a lot of points. So Chara then defends a 2-on-1, and then he gets a goal. So Chara, in a kind of a fluttering goal from Barzal and Parise at 19:16. They pull the goaltender, and Hagel hits the empty net from McDonough and Cirelli at 19:35. So it's kind of a sloppy-ish game for Tampa Bay, but they win it 6-4. They go to 51-23-8. They will play in Toronto to start the playoffs. The Islanders finish the season 37-35-10. They had some good games down the stretch, though. I think they're definitely going to be a pick for a bounce back. Your 3 stars are Chara, Stamkos, and Palat. The way that Chara was behaving at the end of this game, there's a good chance that his career's, this is it, that he's turning it in, he's done. Just the handshakes that were going on, not just with teammates and with the other team and everybody. Like, it was pretty clear that Chara's probably done. Your shots are 10 apiece in the first, 11 apiece in the second, and then the Islanders outshoot them 16-13 in the third. Final shots 37-34 for the Islanders. Both teams go 1-for-1 on the power play. Hits 19-14 for Tampa. Vasilevsky saves 33 out of 37. Sorokin saves 28 out of 33. So, yeah. Entertaining game, though. Really was. Next up, Vegas. Vegas in against St. Louis. So St. Louis was hoping to get home ice against Minnesota. They don't get there. And there are some alarming things out of this game. Maybe it's just a one-off. Maybe it's not a big deal. But it's given me pause now for who I'm going to pick in the series. Thanks, St. Louis. So it was Thompson versus Husso. The Blues get a power play. That was killed off. Vegas then gets a power play. That's killed off. And then there's another Vegas power play. They score on that one. And it's Stone from Pietrangelo and Pacioretty at 13:41. The shots are 7-1 for Vegas with 6 minutes left. If you came into this game and you didn't know which team needed to win this game, you would have been forgiven for assuming it was Vegas, because Vegas was playing desperate hockey. Perron would tie the game from Krug at 16:05. Makes it 1-1 after one. Second period, shots are 4-1 for Vegas at 4.5 minutes, but as I'm writing it, O'Reilly scores from Krug at 4:40. Then there's a near miss by Bozak, so it looks like maybe St. Louis has got it going. However, Eichel scores from Whitecloud and Hutton at 9:08. Then the Blues get a power play, and they score on it. It's Kyrou from Sod and O'Reilly at 12:24, so St. Louis is back in the lead. Blues look for more. However, Whitecloud answers from Eichel and Dodonov at 15:32. The Blues press with 3 minutes left, but coming out of the second period, scores tied at 3. Third period, Carlson has a rush. The referee says goal, and he's right. That puck went in and out of the net so fast. Makes total sense that in real time people weren't sure it went in. But the ref knew. Good eye from him. It's Carlson's 12th, so he finishes the season with 12. Been a rough year for him. Nice to see him get a goal in the finale. Marchessault with the assist at 3:20. Marchessault then adds one himself from Carlson at 6:41. Not a pretty goal for Husso. Just not a pretty goal. And so that's got to be at least somewhat of a concern. Maybe this is just a one-off. You just throw it out and go, who cares? Just focus on Minnesota. Maybe, right? Tarasenko's then denied the answer. He did try, though. Blues press at 9.5 minutes. Coughlin has a chance is kicked aside with 6:47 left. The Blues get a power play. They score on it. It's O'Reilly from Kyrou and Perron at 13:20. And then the Blues press for the tie. So they're in this. They're looking for it. But Eichel would score from Dodonov and Raw at 15:48. So that gives Vegas back the 2-goal lead. Goalie gets pulled because you got to try. And that allows the empty netter. Pacioretty from Theodore at 17:44. Your final score is 7-4. Vegas finishes the year at 43-31-8. For St. Louis, they finished the season 49-22-11. They do not get that 50th win. So, yeah, it's interesting. They don't get the 50th win. It's just like the other teams don't get that 100th point and all that. So, anyways, your 3 stars are Eichel, O'Reilly, and Marchessault. The shots were 9-5 Vegas in the first, 20-8 Vegas in the second, and then 16-5 Vegas in the third. The final shots are 45-18 for Vegas. Again, Vegas played desperate hockey like they're trying to get in the playoffs. St. Louis didn't. Your power plays 1 for 2 for Vegas, 2 for 3 for St. Louis. The hits were only 11-6 for St. Louis. Thompson saves 14 out of 18. Husso, rough night, 38 saves on 44 shots. And they'll be hoping for better as the playoffs get started pretty darn quick here. All right, next up, Colorado in against Minnesota. Again, Colorado's kind of cold going into the playoffs. I will be honest, tomorrow we're doing the live stream of the power rankings. It has not negatively impacted them in the power rankings because I don't look at what's going on with Colorado and say, okay, well, clearly this is a sign of a problem because they've been resting guys. There's been just that lack of I don't know, whatever Colorado had during all those winning streaks and during their fantastic season over the last couple of weeks, they just look like a team that just wants to get to the playoffs and just wants to make sure they're healthy when they get there. So it's Francouz versus Fleury, and it takes 58 seconds for Minnesota to open the scoring. It's Greenway from Foligno. We then had a fight between O'Connor and Duhaime. Jost then scored from Kaprizov and Merrill at 4:12 to make it 2-0. So former Colorado Avalanche Jost with that one. Almost wanted to say Colin Jost. It's not that Jost, though. McDermott injured Foligno, gets a 5-minute for kneeing. Foligno would not return to the game. That would be a huge loss for Minnesota if he's out, and it did not look good. So, and McDermott might get a call from the Department of Player Safety. Not that Colorado can't handle to not have McDermott in the lineup for Game 1 of the playoffs. Kaprizov to Jost then won't go. Goudreau had a rush chance that was saved. The Avalanche did kill off that major penalty. The Avs then get a power play. That was killed off. The Wild press after it's done. The Avs go back to the power play. That was killed off as well. With 1:20 left, the Wild get a power play, which becomes a 5-on-3. Eriksson was denied. There's close calls, and it rolls over into the third period. Kaprizov fires one high. The Avs did kill it off, but early in the second period, at 3:46, it's Kaprizov from Hartman and Spurgeon, and then at 5:38, Kadri gets Colorado on the board from Rantanen. The Wild then get a power play. That was killed off. And then there's a late power play for the Avalanche that rolls over into the third. There was 1 minute and 39 seconds on that power play to start the third period. The Wild do finish the kill. And again, Foligno did not return in a knee, and you've got to be worried when it's the knee, right? Avs get a power play, the Wild pressure, and that makes it a 4-on-4 because they draw the penalty. The shots are 6-2 for the Avs with 9 minutes left. Everything got killed off there. Eriksson misses the empty net with 1 minute and 35 seconds left. Ices the puck. However, Greenway would hit the empty net from Middleton at 19:28. Your final score is 4-1 for Minnesota. They finished the season 53-22-7. For Colorado, they're 56-19-7. So again, I know Colorado's entering the season or ending the season on a cold streak. I'm not overly concerned. Your 3 stars are Kaprizov, Fleury, and Jost. The shots, 11-10 Minnesota in the first, 9-6 Colorado in the second, 9-5 Colorado in the third. Final shots, 28-22 for Colorado. Power plays, Colorado 0 for 4, Minnesota 0 for 5. The hits, 26-14 Minnesota. Francouz saves 18 out of 21. Fleury saves 27 out of 28. So Fleury had a really good game. That's key. Fleury's looked shaky since he got to Minnesota. Tonight's the best night he's played for Minnesota, and it was against Colorado. So maybe that rolls over into the playoffs where I think Talbot and Fleury are both going to play. I don't think it's just going to be one or the other. That being said, I need to change boards. Okay, third and final board. And by final board, I mean for the regular season, this is it. I don't do playoff hockey this way. It's a totally different setup. And so this is your final board of the regular season. After that, I take the tape off the boards, and each board has its own series. Every series has its own board, however you want to look at it. So I'll set those boards up tomorrow. Start previewing those series as well. With the move we're doing, I'll be posting videos that will be then posted to the channel throughout the weekend. So it's going to be very busy with videos being posted from this room, but probably after we've already left this room. So you're kind of time traveling when they post. Okay, so Calgary in against the Winnipeg Jets. Apologies for the lack of notes on this, but again, at the time this got started, a lot of games on, tons, and there wasn't anything to play for in this game. So I understood that, right? So it's Vladar versus Hellebuyck. The Flames do score first. Tkachuk scores at 3:19. The Flames get a power play that's killed off, and the shots are 8-2 in their favor at 8.5 minutes. The Jets then get a power play, becomes a 5-on-3. That was killed off. And then just before the period's out, Wheeler ties it from Ehlers and Stastny at 19:47. Second period, shockingly fewest notes I've had on a second period of a hockey game since I started taking notes that didn't just involve scoring. So the shots were 2 apiece at 4 minutes. At 6:06, Appleton scores a nice one from Morrissey and Sanford. But that's all the scoring in the second period. And again, there's so much going on. Yeah, I'm glad this is the only 15 game day. I will say this, I'm glad the NHL schedules the 15 game day for the end of the season when a lot of these games are not that important, right? Third period, the Jets 26-1-1 when they lead after 2. So the problem for them really is that they didn't lead enough. That's only 28 games where they led after 2 periods. Pionk has a rush chance that's held. The shots are 3-1 for the Jets at 2.5 minutes. The Jets get a power play. Appleton can't bury it. That's killed off. Lowry then misses one high. Anderson had a rush chance that was saved. They press. Anderson had other opportunities as well. Stastny couldn't bury one from the slot. Morrissey took a stick to the mouth. Now, this is where they were already shorthanded. So, and it looked like he was bleeding as well. So he was not happy. And I think it was Tkachuk with the high stick. He was not happy that that wasn't called. No call in the play. But Dylan, who got rattled earlier in the game as well, he scores the empty netter, which is also a shorthanded goal at 19:40. And your final score is 3-1 for Winnipeg. They go to 38, 32, and 11. They do have the 1 game left against Seattle. Again, I'll try to watch it. Calgary 50, 21, and 11 on the season. And again, that 3-1 loss. Calgary didn't have anything to play for. So again, it's hard to really punish them. Like, I'm looking at the power rankings board and thinking, how do I punish teams for not necessarily playing great this week when they rested guys? And clearly something's different. Your 3 stars are Ehlers, Wheeler, and Hellebuyck. Shots 18-12 in favor of Calgary in the first, 19-8 Winnipeg in the second, 12-7 Winnipeg in the third. They played for pride down the stretch. Final shots are 43-33 Winnipeg. Power plays, Calgary 0-2, Winnipeg 0-4. Hits 22-17 Calgary. Vladar saves 40 out of 42. Hellebuyck saves 32 out of 33. And there you go. The Winnipeg Jets do end the season on a high note. And of course, Comrie got a shutout in the last game. So it's a positive end to the season. And they finished the season 6 games above 500. So there's positives there. Sure there are. All right, next up. Anaheim in against Dallas. This was just a weird one. Okay, this was bizarre. So Gibson versus Ottinger. Not Gibson for long. Zegras is denied from the slot. The shots are 1 apiece at 6.5 minutes. Comtois would open the scoring. He scores at 7.5 minutes, or 7:33. Stars press for an answer. They also get a power play. That was killed off. And Robertson hits a crossbar. So Dallas close to tying it. To start the second, Stolarz is in now. So Harley scores at 3:13. That's his first NHL goal from Faxa and Kiviranta. And then at 5:45, Hanley scores. Just to keep the announcers honest, you have Harley and Hanley. Have fun with that. Faxa and Hakanpää with the assists. And all of a sudden, it's a 2-1 lead for Dallas. Stars press at 9.5 minutes. Radulov fires one wide on a rush. And then Terry. What was kind of a broken play in the Dallas end and ends up in the net. Henrique and Zegras with the assists at 15:41, and with 5.5 seconds left, the Ducks get a power play. So in the third period, where's Stolarz? It's Hodges, the emergency backup goaltender, goes in, and it was weird because he had the number 68 on the back of his jersey, no name on it, and his helmet clearly for some other team. Could be a house team, could be a university team. Didn't hear a whole lot about him because, again, there's a lot going on. But, Hodges, the number 1 on his mask, number 68 on his back. Which is it? All right, anyways, Stars had a power play. Welcome to the game. And Dallas scores on it. It tips off Schuster's stick, too. And it's a shot by Robertson. From Heiskanen and Hintz at 9:56. That's just unfair, you know. He didn't look very tall either, so I was just seeing this goalie in the net, and I was like, man, that's got to be something. So Hodges tried. He did. Benoit then had a rush chance that was saved. And what I thought was nice was that there was a stoppage where they showed officials going over and talking to Hodges, who, of course, emergency backup, you have to be nervous. And to his credit, he had a smile on his face. He seemed happy and loose. And, yeah, good feel-good moment here. And then there's an empty netter. It's Nemesnikov from Sagan and Ottinger at 19 minutes. So there was one thing the announcer said as the game was getting close to the end. They're like, do you think he's used to, you know, coming out for the extra attacker? And I'm thinking, well, yeah. Isn't that done at every level of hockey, the extra attacker? I'm pretty sure it is. So your 3 stars in a 4-2 victory for Dallas. They go to 46-30-6. Anaheim drops to 31-37-14. Foxa is your number 1 star. Harley with his first NHL goal, a 2nd star. It didn't show me who the 3rd star was, which tells me it was Hodges, right? Because when it's an emergency backup goaltender, that player is not in the database for the NHL. It throws the whole thing off. So the game summary had 2 stars and not a 3rd. So there's an asterisk there because I assume Hodges got it because he saved 2 out of 3. He did. Your shots, 5 apiece in the first, 10-7 in favor of Dallas in the second, 9-4 Anaheim in the third. Final shots, 21-19 for Anaheim. Power plays, 0-for-1 for Anaheim. Dallas, 1-for-2. The hits were 15-14 Dallas. Gibson saves all 5 shots. Stolar saves 8 out of 10. Hodges saves 2 out of 3. Ottinger at the other end, not busy. 19 saves on 21 shots. So, yeah, I think it's great when the emergency backup goalie gets in. He doesn't get the win. It's not some big highlight reel story. But still, it's a fun story, right? So, kudos to him. Because that's got to be stressful. All right, next up. The Vancouver Canucks and the Edmonton Oilers. I will say this for the Canucks. They don't go out as a team hanging its head over a failed season. I was proud of them today. So it's Martin versus Koskinen. The shots are 3-1 Oilers at 7 minutes. The Canucks, though, they get a power play. That was killed off. And then Miller. JT Miller gets his 99th point from Hunt and Garland at 17:31. And then the Canucks get a late power play. Rolls over into the second period. The Oilers finish the kill. Pettersson had a rush opportunity that was saved. The shots are 3-1 for the Oilers at 4 minutes. The Oilers press with 8 minutes left. McLeod fires one wide with 3 minutes left, and Shore's denied and close. Interesting thing being, Vancouver outshot them in that period. You would not know it from the notes I took. Third period, Kulak scores early at 31 seconds from Yamamoto and McLeod. The Oilers press for the lead, but Garland would score from Hughes at 2:35. That's 60 assists for Quinn Hughes. That's impressive. And this is a year where there's a lot of defensemen putting up a lot of point totals. Really good year for Quinn Hughes. Nice bounce back after last year was a really poor season for him. Barry, though, he ties it up again from Cassian and Broussard at 9 minutes and 10 seconds. That one was through a screen. Knight didn't, or Spencer Martin didn't see it. So I think Spencer in my brain, and then I'm thinking Spencer Knight and Spencer Martin. So getting my Spencers mixed up. Kane fans on one. The Canucks do clear it out. Besser then had a chance that was defended. The Oilers get a power play. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins is denied and close. It's killed off, and we go to overtime. The Canucks control it early. Miller can't bury one. He's looking for point number 100. Pettersson loses the puck. The Oilers rush. They lose the puck as well. Pettersson then misses one wide. Bouchard had a shot that deflects out. Kane can't bury one during a 2-on-1. OEL has a chance that deflects out. Hyman had a break. He didn't get a shot on net. Martin basically outweights him, and by the time Hyman's getting ready to take that shot, he's past the net. So we go to a shootout, and it takes till round 6 before we get that goal, and it's Shore with the winner. So the Oilers do win this one in a shootout, 3-2. They go to 49-27-6 with the win. For Vancouver, they finished the season 40-30-12. If I had told Canuck fans the night that Green was fired and that they were bringing in Boudreau that the Canucks would finish with 92 points, I would have been told I was a bleeping liar and how dare you, and I'm going to unsubscribe, and here they are, 92 points. So they did turn it around, and so, you know, the Oilers get the 2 points, but again, I was kind of proud to see the Canucks get that point on the road in Edmonton. Kulak, Koskinen, and Martin are the 3 stars, so Spencer Martin, again, raising that bar. I don't know over a full season if he can maintain it, but I think he's going to get the opportunity to try. Your shots are 17-6 Vancouver in the first, 14-11 Vancouver in the second, 14-7 Edmonton in the third. In the overtime, 3-2 in favor of Vancouver. Final shots 41-33 Vancouver. Power plays the Canucks 0 for 2, Edmonton 0 for 1. Hits 21-14 Edmonton. Martin saved 31 out of 33. Koskinen saved 39 out of 41. Both goaltenders were very good in this game. And for Koskinen, this is good. This is a good game he has as they get ready for the playoffs, because I think the Oilers are going to end up needing both goaltenders as well. So, yeah, and we will see if that is in fact the case. All right, next up, Seattle at home against San Jose. San Jose played last night. Seattle didn't. I think it kind of showed here. So it's Kakkonen versus Drieger. The Sharks press at 4.5 minutes, but Seattle presses back, and eventually they open the scoring. It's Gord. He scores from COL-MIN and Chalowski at 6:17. Scored on a rush. The Kraken press at 9.5 minutes. Seattle gets a power play. That was killed off. But before the period's out, Adam Larsson scores from Alexiak and Beniers at 18:31. So there's Matty Beniers with another point. And it's 2-0 Seattle after one. Second period. Early jump for the Sharks. Seattle presses at 2.5 minutes. Donskoy had a chance to deflect wide. The Sharks get a power play. There's a post for Burns. And then we have a minute and 12 seconds of 5-on-3 for San Jose. Burns fires one high. It all gets killed off. Basically, it looked like the power play was get it to Burns. Let him blast it. It's not an awful plan. Just some near misses there for him. Larson was denied on a rush after that was done, and then Jared McCann ends up hitting the post. We go to the third period. Sharks press at 5 minutes. There's a near miss for Geekie. The shots are 5-2 for the Kraken at 7.5 minutes. Barabanov then has a chance that's saved. Eberle had one that was saved and held after that. The goalie gets pulled with a little over 2 minutes left, and there were opportunities that just wouldn't go. The Sharks were doing a good job of blocking the empty net, but eventually Victor Rask hits the empty net from Sheahan and Borgen at 19:08. Seattle wins this one 3-0. They finish the season on Sunday, so the record right now is, I caught it, 27-48-6. They'll try to win that 28th game, and then when their season's done, I can compare their first season to other first seasons, and we'll see where they were as good as other expansion teams, where they fell short. For San Jose, they fall to 32, 37, and 13 to finish the season. Your three stars are Drieger, Larson, and COL-MIN. Shots were 12-4 Seattle in the first, 11-6 San Jose in the second, 13-9 Seattle in the third. Final shots 31-24 Seattle. Power plays San Jose 0 for 2, Seattle 0 for 1. The hit 16-14 for San Jose. Kakkonen saves 28 out of 30, and Drieger saves all 24 for his first shutout this year as a member of the Kraken, and his 5th overall. So kudos to him. And to Seattle fans, it's going to get better next year. This is a first year, this is expansion, this is how it usually works, not like Vegas. And so, it's about building up from here. And at least they seem to finish, I'd say over their last 20 games, they were more along the lines of where we expected them to play. And so they need to carry that over into next year, right? All right, moving along. The last game of the night. What in the living? Anyway, I don't swear in videos anymore, but boy, this is one where I would have back in the day. So it's Ingram versus Vejmelka. Sissons scores on the first shot from Yossi and Fabro at 25 seconds. Then on their third shot, they score again. It's Johansson from Tomasino and Davies at 2:06. Then on their fourth shot, they score again. It's Tolvanen at 2:51. It's less than 3 minutes into this game, and I'm already like, all right, so Nashville wins. And there was already, when it was 3-0 in this game, in the Dallas broadcast, they were saying, so Nashville, it looks like, is going to play against Calgary, and Dallas is going to play against Colorado. And there's already that discussion, because you're not going to lose a 3-0 lead against Arizona. Who are they, Dallas? So Sissons has a net drive that won't go, but then Granlund scores from Duchesne and Forsberg at 6:57. It's 4-0. Now the night is done for Vejmelka. Setri would go in. That was only the 6th shot as well. So Vejmelka had a really rough night. So Setri goes in, but Setri, of course, hadn't allowed a goal for a while in that last game he played, so he's playing pretty well. And then Gostisbehere scores from Galchenyuk at 13:21. And when the goal's being celebrated, so was a fight. Borowiecki fought Imama. That's Boko Imama's first fight in the NHL. I know Bakanji because I think that was his name. Bakanji was his name in the video game because I remember him from one of my NHL games. It's just such a unique name that it stands out. So yeah, first NHL fight for Imama, and it's against Borowiecki. Starts with one of the better known fighters in the league. Not necessarily the biggest, but one of the better fighters too. Hayden then had a net feed that won't go. There's a press by Nashville with 3 minutes left, but after the first period, it's 4-1. So that goal by Gostisbehere didn't look like it was much of anything to be worried about. Second period, shots are 1 apiece at 6.5 minutes. Nashville's just taking the life out of the game. No problem. A lot of hits, back and forth play. Nashville presses at 7 minutes. They get a power play. That was killed off. And then Boyd scores from Schmaltz and Capobianco at 14:25. And it was a mess of sticks on that point shot that led to that goal. And then McBain scores from Roussel and Eriksson at 18:24. So that might be the last point in the career of Louis Eriksson. Moment of silence. All right. 15 seconds left. The Coyotes get a power play. So what's going to happen? Well, in the third period, just after the power play's done, Arizona ties it. It's Carconi from Mosier and Smith at 1:51. This is where I have to leave the room and go and tell my wife what's happening, because this is bizarre. They did it again. They got down 3-0 against Dallas, came back and won. They got down 4-0 against Nashville. Here's the thing. Arizona, next year, don't get behind 3 or 4-0. Just try to play as if you're behind 3 or 4-0. So the Coyotes get a 4-minute power play, but we get 3 seconds of 4-on-4, and then it's a power play for Nashville. The Coyotes do kill that off, and halfway through the period, the shots are 8-1 for Arizona. So you need some desperate hockey from Nashville, which we get. But first, Arizona takes the lead. It's Gostisbehere from Galchenyuk at 10:27 on a face-off win. So Galchenyuk gets it to Gostisbehere, who just rings it from the point. And this is where, and I agree with the announcers, you could tell Ingram was fighting it. That Ingram it wasn't there for him tonight. So pressed by Nashville with 6.5 minutes left. Galchenyuk then couldn't bury one when they had opportunities. Goalie gets pulled with 1:10 left. I think they would have pulled him sooner, but Arizona kept the puck at the other end a lot. And with 36.5 seconds left, the Preds call a timeout. Whatever they discussed did not work. Nashville loses in regulation. All they needed was a point, and they would have found themselves in, I want to say 7th, but the first wild card spot, and they would have been against Calgary. But instead, Dallas will be playing Calgary in the playoffs. Nashville will play Colorado. So that'll be something. Your stars in this one are Gostisbehere, Setri. I have to say, Setri, I pointed out in a news video that his save percentage was .822 and that it looked rough. He hasn't allowed much since then. So I'm not going to take credit, but it's right there. So Boyd was the third star in that one. The interesting thing was that, so the game's done, and on my TV where it's got the NHL center ice and all that, so they're showing the 3 stars. The game cut off, the feed cut off before they showed star number 1. So this video is probably being posted about a minute later than it should have, because they cut off that Gostisbehere was the first star. They show the third and second, and then it just goes to the black screen, and I'm like, seriously? So your shots in this one were 10-6 Nashville in the first, 9 apiece in the second, and 14-12 Nashville in the third, which is impressive because the Coyotes were out shooting them 8-1 at the halfway mark. Final shots are 33-27 Nashville. Power plays, the Preds 0 for 2. Arizona 0 for 3. Your hits are 43-28 Arizona. Ingram saves 22 out of 27. Vejmelka saved 2 out of 6. And then Setri saves all 27 shots. That's how you finish up the season. And so maybe they bring Setri back next year. Maybe Setri and Vejmelka will be the goaltenders. So there you go. Surprising result to end out the night. And I was glad, because I was really worried when this game was 4-0. I was like, this is going to be a dud. It's going to be like 15-0. Why am I watching this? Glad I stuck around. All right, and I'm glad you guys stuck around till the end of this video as well. Thank you guys so much for your support during the regular season. This is the last of the monstrously long videos on the channel for quite a while. This is when YouTube starts telling me your watch time is down. Yeah, I'm aware. From this day forward, this starts telling me my watch time seems to be off. It's fine. But yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comments section below about these 15 games tonight. Absolutely ridiculous. I'm glad it's just once this year, not a bunch of times. And again, I'm really glad it wasn't like right before the trade deadline, because it sucks not being able to follow everything when they're important games. But tonight, not as important. So there you go. Hit like and subscribe. If your team's outside the playoffs, there will be videos on the channel discussing your team. It'll happen. I try to make sure I discuss every single team during the off season, and I continue to discuss, and we track and see how they're doing, and then get ready for next year. So thank you guys so much for all your support throughout this season. It's been fantastic. I appreciate each and every person that watches my videos, those that love them, those that don't, those that watch them, and those that just kind of skim around and skip from one chapter to the next. Thank you guys again for all your support. Another chapter for the channel starts soon, both in playoff form and with a new set. I will talk to you again soon.